Experiences do not simply change your opinion, they change the frame through which you see reality. For me, that experience was a kundalini awakening. It was not something I was looking for. There was no long spiritual training, no mountain, no guru, no romantic idea of becoming enlightened. It happened unexpectedly while I was trying to heal a physical problem. And once it happened, the old materialist explanation of life no longer felt complete. I say this at the beginning because it is the foundation of everything that follows. I cannot prove it to you. I cannot show you a chart, a machine reading, or a scientific certificate. All I have is the direct experience of what happened inside my body, my mind, and my consciousness. So if you do not believe in Kundalini, or if you think it is only suggestion, that is fine. I am not here to force you to believe anything. I am only telling you where this thought begins. Before that experience, I was a skeptic. And I want to be clear about who is speaking here. I am not a professor. I am not a scientist of consciousness. I do not have academic titles, a university chair, or a theory to defend. For most of my life, I was basically a materialist. I placed many things in the same mental drawer: astrology, souls, life beyond the body, spiritual awakening, energy, hidden patterns in reality. And on that drawer, I had written one word: nonsense. Stuff for confused people, stuff for dreamers, stuff for people who needed to believe in something. That was my mindset. Then something happened that could not fit inside my old map of reality. And when something like that happens, you have two choices. You can pretend nothing happened just to protect the old map, or you can admit that maybe the map was incomplete. I chose the second option, not because I wanted to, because after that experience, I could not honestly do anything else. And from that experience, one thing became clear to me before anything else. I am not my body. There is something inside us that observes, something that feels, something that is aware of being alive. And that something is not only flesh, it is not only the brain, it is not only the personality with a name, a face, a history, and a role in society. It is something deeper. And during that awakening, I had the direct sensation, not an idea, not a belief, but a sensation that this deeper part does not die, that the soul is immortal, that we are consciousness inside a body, not just a body that accidentally produces consciousness. This is the foundation. Everything I'm going to say after this rests on that point. But I did not stop at the feeling, because that is not who I am. I was a skeptic, remember? And even after the awakening, the skeptic in me did not die. He just turned his doubt toward new territory. I did not want to only feel that something was true. I wanted to investigate it. So I started looking into things I would have laughed at a few years earlier. The first was my astrological birth chart, not the horoscope in a magazine. The full natal chart, the real thing, calculated on the exact moment and place of my birth. And I was stunned. I am not talking about vague sentences that fit anyone. I am talking about a description that seemed to walk straight into the deep mechanisms of my character, my contradictions, my impulses, my wounds, my way of living, of reacting, of loving, of fighting. It was too precise to throw away with a laugh. Then something similar happened with palm reading. First, a palm reader read my hands and she told me things that matched, in a surprising way, what I know myself to be. Then, almost to test it, I used artificial intelligence to analyze the same images of my hands, expecting something different, more random, more confused. But no, the readings overlapped. Not identical in words, but pointing to the same core, the same temperament, the same inner tensions, the same strengths, the same deep structure. And at that point, the question was no longer, do I believe in this or not? The question had become something else. What kind of reality is a reality in which the same information seems to be written in more than one place? In the sky at the moment you are born, and in the lines carved into your hands: as above, so below, as inside, so outside. And from this, an idea started forming, an idea that became central for me. What if the body is an avatar, and that avatar comes with a starting code, a configuration, a temperament, a set of tendencies, gifts, wounds, and lessons written in from the beginning? What if the stars at the moment of birth are the signature of that code in the sky, and the lines of the hands are the same code stamped into the flesh, like a barcode of the avatar, a printed map of how this particular character was configured? Not to force you, not to decide your destiny. The code does not choose what you will do. It describes the ground you start from, the tendencies you carry, the forces that move through you. Because the consciousness, fragmenting into infinite avatars, all different from each other, can experience reality from every possible angle. Every avatar, a different window. Every life, a unique point of view. And each one needs its own code. This is where my research led me. Not to a proof, to a hypothesis. But a hypothesis solid enough that I could no longer dismiss it. And without this, everything I am about to say would just be the free thoughts of a conspiracy mind. With it, it becomes what it really is, a search. Because follow the logic. If I am not my body, then the body is a vehicle, a temporary form, an avatar, to use a word that today everyone understands. And if the body is an avatar with a starting code written in the stars and stamped in the hands, then this reality starts to look less like a random physical accident and more like an experience, something we enter, something we move through, something constructed. And this brings me to a word that today is very popular, but that I mean in a very specific way: simulation. I believe we live inside a simulation, but this word hides a trap because simulation can mean two completely different things, almost opposite things, and the version you choose changes everything. First possibility: the simulation is technological. We are software. We are running inside the computer of a superior civilization. Beings more advanced than us created this world the way we create a video game, an experiment, a model, a calculation. And we from inside do not realize it. We believe everything is real. In this version, God, the real God, does not exist. Or if there is a creator, that creator is only a programmer, a technician from another level of reality, not the divine, not the source, not God in the spiritual sense. And in this version, all the strange things people notice, the repeated numbers, the spirals that appear everywhere, the mathematical proportions in nature, the coincidences that feel too precise, and even the code in the stars and the hands are not messages. They are just patterns, side effects of the system. The code is running, and sometimes we notice shapes inside it, but there is no intention behind them. No one is speaking. No one is leaving signs. It is a simulation without a soul. Beautiful, complex, astonishing, maybe even infinite, but silent. Second possibility: the simulation is divine. God exists, and the simulation is not a machine made by aliens. It is the intelligence behind reality itself, the consciousness that became the world. In this version, existence is not an accident and not an empty program. It is consciousness experiencing itself through form. Imagine an original consciousness that is whole, complete, eternal. But because it is everything, there is no other. Nothing outside it. No one to see it. No one to love it. No one to discover it. So it fragments itself. It becomes millions, billions, maybe infinite sparks. Each spark forgets that it comes from the whole. Each spark enters a body, a life, a story, a name, a family, a wound, a desire, a fear. And for a while, each spark believes it is only that character, only that body, only that life. In this version, the coincidences, the repeated numbers, the spirals, the code written in the stars and the hands are not meaningless. They are clues, breadcrumbs, small signs left along the path so that one day one of those sparks may begin to remember the way home. Because here there is a purpose, and the purpose is remembrance. Same reality, same spirals, same numbers, same code in the stars and the hands. But if the simulation is purely technological, they are only patterns without meaning. If the simulation is divine, they are messages. The sign may look the same. What changes is who wrote it and why. So the real question becomes, how do you choose between the two? And here I have to be honest. Logic alone cannot choose. From inside the simulation, you cannot see who wrote it. You cannot know whether the programmer is an alien civilization or God. No argument can prove it completely. No theory can close the door forever. The two possibilities remain there side by side, and reason reaches a limit in front of both. For me, the choice did not come from logic. It came from experience, because what I felt during the awakening did not feel like a random malfunction. It did not feel like an empty coincidence. It did not feel like something mechanical. It felt like intention, like something was calling, like reality was not breaking, but opening. And that feeling made me walk through the second door, the divine one. I cannot prove that to you. I said this from the beginning. It is my experience, my private proof, something that can only fully convince the person who lived it. But it is real to me. And from that point, I see everything differently. And maybe the two possibilities are not as far apart as they seem. Imagine you choose the first one, the technological simulation, aliens with a computer. Fine. But those aliens, where do they live? Who created their reality? And what if they are also inside another simulation created by something even higher? And what if that higher world is also simulated by something beyond it? A box inside a box, a dream inside a dream, a simulation inside a simulation. At some point, at the top of everything, there has to be something that was not simulated by anyone, a first reality, a first consciousness, something that was not created because it simply is. And that, whatever name you want to give it, is what humanity has always called God. So even if you start from the coldest version of the theory, the most technological version, the most atheistic version, and you follow it all the way to the end, you eventually return to the same question. What is the source of everything? What is the consciousness that was never created? I arrived there through another road, through an awakening I did not look for. But maybe the place I arrived at is the same place all serious questions eventually lead. You do not have to believe me. You only have to do one thing. Maybe the next time a coincidence happens, look at it for 1 second longer. Ask yourself if it is really just random, or if maybe it is a breadcrumb in the forest that leads to your awakening.